such a grand old age. And they didn't just live to an old age, but they were actually healthy. They were living, the people who were living to that age were still living a vibrant, healthy life. So I'm going to share with you this evening some of those secrets, the laws of life. What does it mean to be healthy? Now in Proverbs 26 verse 2, it gives us a principle there. It says that the curse causeless shall not come. And that word curse also means disease or affliction or anything that hinders our health. In other words, there's always a reason why ill health afflicts humanity. Another principle that the Bible brings to view in Job 29:16 is the cause which I knew not, I searched it out. The cause. So there's always a cause to afflictions, sickness, and disease. Now this principle is very important because if we can find the cause to disease, then guess what? We've also discovered the cure. The cure is in the cause. What do I mean by that? Now, does anybody here have an allotment or, any green fingers here? I can see a few hands going up. Laws of life. What are some of the things that you grow in your allotment? Pumpkins, potatoes, squash. A fantastic variety. That's awesome. And I saw a hand here at the front. You like growing things as well? What do you grow? Raspberries. Raspberries. Yummy. That's very delicious. And I see another hand here.
Beans.
You grow beans? That's very, very interesting.
And blackberries.
And blackberries too. Now, for those of you who are acquainted with growing produce, what are some of the things that you have to do to ensure that those seeds that you plant develop and grow and eventually bear fruit? What are some of the laws that you have in nature?
Good soil.
So first and foremost, you need good soil. Good soil. Or what else?
Water.
Also water. What would happen if you did not provide water? Say that again. The plant will wither and die. So would you say that the plant needs water in order to grow and develop and prosper? Isn't that right? So that the need of water is classed as a principle or a law. Without water, the plant would shrivel and die. It's the same for you and I. Now, on average, the body is between 65 and 85% water, depending on which location you take the measurement from. Laws of life. Now, what conditions may have caused the plant to wilt and fade, do you think? Maybe you neglected to give it water? Yeah? What else? What else do plants need?
Sunshine.
It needs sunshine. And we know that it needs good soil. So what do you think? What conditions do you think will revive the plant on the right? Look at it, it's looking quite faded, isn't it? Looking quite sad. Do you think it can live still?
Yes.
So if the reason why the plant is faded and withered, what do you think will revive it? If the reason is that maybe I forgot, is it water? What will revive it? It's so simple, isn't it? Cause to effect. Cause to effect. And do you know the same principle applies to our health as well? Between 70 and 85% water is one of the number one reasons why people suffer with migraines is dehydration. Lack of hydration causes migraines, cause to effect. And you will see that same principle underlying each and every ailment that afflicts humanity. So the laws of life, what are these laws of life that we are to adhere to? What are they? Okay, so it's interesting because usually in the human body, our body will show signs of deficiencies long before disease takes root. And it's understanding these signs, being able to read these signs, that will allow us to take action before a more serious disease afflicts the human body. And the interesting thing is that our extremities, the feet and the fingers, usually reveal the first signs of disease. An example of that is arthritis. Arthritis usually afflicts, first and foremost, either the toes or the fingers. And the common cause of arthritis is a buildup of uric acid crystals within the body. The body's eliminatory channels are somehow hindered, so the body then chooses, or not chooses, but the body then has to store those toxic elements within itself, and usually it finds the joints as the best place to store those. So a good cleanse would allow the body to be able to free itself from these. But the extremities. So another example is a vitamin B deficiency. Now vitamin B is a crucial vitamin. All the range of vitamin B vitamins are crucial for general cellular health. And ridges in the fingernails are a symptom of a vitamin B deficiencies. Okay? So first signs of disease. If we know how to read the signs, we can know how to put things right and feed the body with what it needs. Another example, this is a Guardian newspaper headline: high fiber diet could prevent type 1 diabetes. High fiber diet. So from that headline, what do you think one of the causes of diabetes type 1 could be? Just lack of fiber. So prevention of diabetes and also diabetes diet, cause to effect. So if we can understand these principles, then we can prevent a disease. I'll skip past this right now, probably come back to it later, because this is a diagram of the sanctuary found in the Bible. And in the sanctuary is actually found a blueprint of healthy living, including dietary matters as well. So the 8 laws of health. The Bible brings to view principles for healthy living, and we call these the 8 laws of health. So the first law is called godly trust, and then you have open air, daily exercise, sunshine, plenty of rest, lots of water, always temperate, or being in control, self-control, and also nutrition. 8 principles for healthy living, and these principles have been scientifically proven to enhance health and also to restore a person from ill health. So there is a simple plan that, if followed, will lead to a vibrant, healthy life. The Bible reveals a health program built on 8 basic principles proven to decrease your risk of disease and also to strengthen your body and mind. These principles provide the foundation for dealing with any health condition successfully. Tonight I'm going to go through the first 4 of these principles. Now, applied individually, these principles can aid most people in the recovery of ill health. So the first principle is godly trust. Now, human beings are living longer and longer than ever before, but that doesn't necessarily mean they are living healthier. We may be getting to a ripe old age, but what they're discovering now is that there is a heavy burden upon the care system. So even though we're living longer, those who are living longer are more dependent upon others for their care. So what is the problem? Now, in today's fast-paced life, people often feel so pressured and stressed, so full of pain, disappointment, and hopelessness that they are willing to risk their health and even their lives on almost anything that promotes relief. So people are looking for relief in many various ways, whether it's through alcohol, through the use of drugs, through illicit relationships, relief from sadness, hopelessness, and disappointment. What stresses you the most? How do you handle life's disappointments? Is it the mortgage? Is it debts? Is it wrong feelings? What stresses you the most? All these things can hinder the body's ability to be in a healthful condition. Now, in Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 through 6, it tells us a secret. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths." Why? What is the reason why the Bible promotes trust in the Word of God and in God Himself? In Psalm 119, verse 165, it tells us there, "Great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them." So a principle that's established here is that God's laws are there to promote the benefit of health. Now, medical research on Seventh-day Adventists revealed that lower levels of stress were linked to their strong faith in God. Active religious lifestyle and close community spirit are those factors which promote longevity in Seventh-day Adventists when they did the study on those living in Loma Linda. Research has also revealed that having faith adds on average 7 years to your life. Another study done by a Harvard professor revealed that spirituality is important to health because of the following. Number one, it promotes a healthy lifestyle and provides good community. And we have that here this evening. It also promotes biblical practices that help to reduce stress. And number three, the research revealed that just having a belief is also a benefit to a healing power. So this deals with the mind. Godly trust, the principle of godly trust deals with how we deal with everyday situations, relationships, pressures of life. Now, trust in divine power offers peace and assurance. When the mind is free and happy from a sense of duty well done, and from the satisfaction of giving happiness and cheer to others, it brings joy and peace to the whole being. The consciousness of right doing is one of the best medicines for the prevention of disease. The consciousness of right doing. Now, the human brain produces and secretes hormones into the system when it is happy and experiencing joy and peace. It can strengthen a state of happiness. True joy and peace come from a knowledge of God and trust in Him. So those are positive emotions which produce positive hormones. Feel happy hormones. But there's also another side to this. The brain also produces other hormones that cause a toxic reaction in the whole system, affecting metabolism of every cell. These hormones are produced when experiencing fear, anger, frustration, hate, envy, and guilt. So you'll see how the way that we think, the way that we handle life's disappointment can affect and impact our own health or the body, or the way the body controls its metabolic functions. Now, scientists can now measure the body's immune response to specific stresses. They come to the understanding that a positive emotional state can stimulate and strengthen the body's immune system. On the other hand, excessive stress can weaken it. And now the interesting thing is, they've been able to do a heat map of the human body, showing how certain emotions affect the heat inside one's body. And as you can see here, the only two positive emotions are the ones that promote an equalization of warmth and heat throughout the body. And that is happiness. You get a good balance here. Every limb and avenue of the body is covered, and also love. Now the negative emotions promote coldness, or they restrict the blood vessels. Anger affects usually the lower part of the body, a lack of heat to the lower limbs. Envy, shame, pride, all these have corresponding negative effects by restricting our vessels and also other functions of the body, particularly the digestive system as well. But look at depression. No warmth in there at all. No circulation. So this is one of the number one reasons why suicide is another number one cause of death currently in the Western world and beyond. So interesting studies going on, revealing the importance of having a positive state of mind, learning how to deal with life's difficulties. Now, an interesting fact is that 1 minute of anger can suppress our immune system for 6 hours. Only 1 minute. So imagine if my tendency is to become angry at every slight. That makes my body, if I'm prone to anger for continuous length of time, that makes me more susceptible to catching whatever is going around. You know how some people, somebody just has to sneeze 1 mile away and I'm going to catch that virus, okay? The immune system. Now the immune system is very interesting. That is the body's defense against bacterial, viral, and other bombardments that are made from the body. So God wants us to have a look at how we deal with life's issues so that we don't make ourselves prone or open to disease. Let me skip past that. Now the Bible says a sound heart is life of the flesh, but envy is the rottenness of the bones. So positive thinking benefits the body. Thoughts are accompanied by corresponding feelings. If the thoughts are wrong, the feelings will be wrong. If the thoughts run in a channel of complaining, distrust, suspicion, murmuring, jealousy, envy, resentment, all these are negative attributes. Anger, the feelings will also be dark and gloomy. And I don't know if you know anybody who, when you have a conversation with them, that conversation always seems to run in a negative channel. Either nothing is ever good in the world. Everything is always wrong. And it's actually very important that either we strengthen and encourage that individual, or sometimes we have to flee and find those or surround ourselves with those who have more of a positive outcome in life. Because the mind affects the body. The mind affects the body, literally. One suicide every 40 seconds. And what they're discovering now is that young people are finding it more and more difficult to handle life situations. Okay? They get offended, they're discovering now. It's called the snowflake generation. We get offended easily. Don't know how to cope with the stresses of life. 60% increase of suicide since 1965. Now, in the Bible, Paul's prescription of a good life and good health is found in Philippians 4, verse 8. And he says there, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, lovely, good report, that we are to think on these things. So what we think about, what we expose our minds to, play a very important role on our health. So sometimes we have to remove things from our lives that are actually creating a negative influence on us. Now, the brain is the master control of our bodies. When our brains are not dulled by alcohol, tobacco, drugs, overeating, lack of sleep, when we are exercising and getting fresh air and sunlight, we will be able to think clearly. Godly trust. Now, in Psalm 119, verse 92 to 94, it tells us, unless thy laws of health, laws of life, had been my delight, I should then have perished in mine affliction. So we're going to see very soon how some of these laws can either bring about disease or prevent and even reverse disease. So the second one we're going to have a look at is open air. Now, a human being can survive several days without food, a few days without water, but only a few short minutes without air. Why? Because we are made up of cells, and each and every cell needs oxygen in order to live, survive, and multiply as well. So whatever we need is because our cells need those substances in the right order. So the importance of fresh air, and I repeat, fresh air. Is fresh air something easy to come by in Stevenage? Fresh. You have a wonderful park here as well, by the way, with a beautiful lake. Do you use it often? It's a wonderful park to walk around in. So fresh country air soothes. These are some of the effects that fresh air has upon the body. Fresh country air soothes the nerves. Why? Because it's helping to saturate the body, those cells, with oxygen, which is vital for life and strength. It also stimulates the appetite. That's why sometimes it's good to go for a walk before our meals. And it also induces a sound, refreshing sleep. And we're coming across more and more people who are finding it more difficult to have or find a sound or good night's rest as well. So a brisk walk in the evening will also help to prepare the body to wind down and relax and sleep. Fresh air. Now, we have a problem, poor ventilation. Especially when the weather gets cold like this, the tendency is to close all the doors and windows and lock ourselves into an incubation chamber and stay warm. But we're going to see, a problem that could arise from that. So poor ventilation of rooms can result in headaches, drowsiness, and difficulty in concentration. What is the reason? When air is breathed and rebreathed over and over again, and it's quite obvious, the oxygen content decreases. Now, I don't know what your work environments are like. Most offices now, they have what they call air conditioning, where the air gets recycled constantly, and usually that's not a good atmosphere for good health. So it's telling us that over and over again, oxygen content decreases and the carbon dioxide and other waste increase within that closed environment. Now, bad air and poor breathing habits promote depression. Why? Because the body is no longer able to expel a lot of those waste particles from itself. And another thing that we're discovering as we consult with people is the habit of poor breathing or shallow breathing. And it's very easy to get into that habit. Now, I don't know if anyone has ever kind of, observed a newborn baby when they breathe. Because newborn babies tend to have the right way of breathing. Adults, for whatever reason, we tend to breathe more from our upper respiratory tract, upper part of the lungs we use. So when we take a deep inhalation, you usually see the shoulders kind of going up and the chest expanding, which seems normal. But the reality of the matter is that we also want to make sure that we are including the lower parts of our lungs in that process. So what's called the diaphragm, when we breathe in, needs to be pushed out. So as you breathe in, the diaphragm, should extrude, okay? And as we breathe out, everything gets returned to normal. Now, babies do this naturally until they learn our habits, unfortunately. So bad air, poor breathing habits promote depression. So, depression is a big thing now in society. And there are simple measures that people can put in place to help with the symptoms of that disorder. One of them is getting outdoors. Simple as that. Now everybody can afford to do that. Going outside and breathing and enjoying the fresh air. So let's get past that video. Now also the scientists have discovered that lack of oxygen first affects, this is a lack of oxygen in the body, first affects the higher center of the brain, the frontal lobe as well. And also overeating affects that part of the brain because the body draws a lot of blood from the brain in order to digest that food that we've overindulged in. So this brings about exhaustion of the mind. Also, they discovered that cancer cells die in a high oxygenated environment. Cancer cells cannot survive or live. They hate a high oxygen environment. So fresh air is very important for cancer patients also. Now, when exercising, up to 26 gallons of air is moved in and out of your lungs per minute, but only 1 gallon at rest. So each and every one of you right now is practicing what's called shallow breathing, okay? And I can see the effects of that shallow breathing. I know my speech is quite boring and some of you are taking the opportunity of finding rest, which is one of the laws of health, but a deep inhalation will help with that to invigorate the mind and quicken it. Exercise increases the circulation. Why is circulation important when we're talking about good health? Why do you think circulation, a free circulation, is important? And that is a question.
Does it help with blood to move through the body freely?
Another secret of good health is the blood. That's right. It helps the blood to move freely because it is through the blood that exchanges in the cells take place. Simple as the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Excellent. So circulation is very important and exercise promotes a good circulation. And also exercise improves a sense of well-being. So learning how to breathe well. So in order to promote, a sense of well-being, it's a good practice, if it's possible. I don't know what the crime rate is like in Stevenage, but if possible at all, it's a good practice to sleep with your windows open, if possible. During the day, find time where you can open the window and allow fresh air into your rooms. But open your windows and let the fresh air in. Also, take a fresh air break, especially those who find themselves in sedentary work, especially at school as well. It's very important for the children to go out as often as possible. So find the freshest air available and breathe deeply. Posture is also very important to allow the lungs to do their work to their fullest capacity. And also the clothing we wear can either promote or hinder good health. So anything that would restrict the circulation, the movement of the blood, anything that would restrict the movement of the blood will hinder good health as well. So tight clothing will restrict the flow of the blood. So it's not a good idea. I know at the moment it's fashionable to wear these skin tight clothes, like that have been painted onto the anatomy, But what does that do? I don't know if anybody has ever done this, but if you just press gently on your forehand, you'll see that the blood quickly goes away and there's a white spot that's left on the hand. That's how delicate those minute blood vessels are. So imagine restricting the blood of those tiny blood vessels, which can also bring about stagnation of movement. So wearing comfortable clothes is very important when promoting good health. Also, where we choose to exercise is important. I think another fact that we have, especially in Western realms, is the gym. Nothing wrong with the gym, but in a gym you tend to get a lot of people who are expiring at the same rate, isn't it? Yeah. So you get a build-up of certain toxic matters within that atmosphere. So it's very good to practice also exercise that will take you outdoors into the fresh air. And also growing houseplants. Houseplants help to absorb carbon dioxide from the air. And as we all know, they also produce oxygen. So having houseplants is a very good answer as well. Now, interestingly, an incredible story, during the 1919 flu epidemic, the hospital in Eureka, California, was overflowing with patients. The head doctor called the army, which gave them tents, cots, and blankets. The overflow patients were moved into the tents in which there was no heat, except hot water bottles that were used to keep the feet warm. It was found that no patients in the tents with no heat or low heat, with the fresh air though that they were getting, were dying. So I'm going to repeat that. It was found that no patients in the tents with the fresh air they were getting were dying. But numbers of patients inside the hospital were dying. When this was realized, the heat in the hospital was turned down and the windows were raised. The patients had to put on heavy underwear, but their death rate went down. And I know a lot of homes that we visit now in this season are very warm. Windows are closed, tight. But as you can see from this example, that's not a very good atmosphere that promotes health. Another principle is daily exercise. What are some of the benefits of movement? So we know that exercise provides greater vitality, extra energy, longer life, stronger bones. But what impact does this have on our health? So exercise helps us to feel good. It promotes those positive hormones. It's effective in fighting depression, relieving anxiety, and also alleviating stress. Exercise does increase energy levels, making us more efficient and productive in everything that we do. So those who have a more sedentary work, exercise is much more important to you. Even though we may say that I have no time to exercise, there's a famous quote that comes to mind where somebody says that those who don't find time to exercise will soon find time when the health is taken away. That's when we really look at ways to regain good health. So exercise also helps one to reach and maintain their proper weight. So it's not just about the amount of calories that we're taking in, it's also how we're using our body, how we are burning those calories. Exercise also decreases the pain and stiffness of osteoarthritis. How? By delivering blood to the joints. It can also relieve headaches also. What else does exercise promote? It enhances circulation, which in turn improves memory, mental ability, promotes better sleep, and also faster healing. Exercise stimulates the immune system. This decreases not only cold and flu infections, but also significantly reduces cancer mortality rates. Movement, exercise. Exercise also strengthens the bone, which is very important, especially the older we get, the more important it is to do weight-bearing exercises as well. The older we get, the more bone density or bone minerals we lose. Strengthening exercises helps to maintain bone density as we get older. Also, exercise helps to protect the heart from diseases by strengthening not only the heart, but the other circulatory organs as well. Now, an interesting observation is that 1 hour of watching television, they say, takes 22 minutes of our lives. How is that? Because sedentary positions, no movement. Someone says the only exercise that some people get is going to the refrigerator to get a snack and then returning back to the sofa.
That must be sort of the same principle for sedimentary jobs then.
Yes, it is. It is, absolutely. And that's why it's important to take regular breaks. But you're absolutely right. So the principle is being stagnant.
Some workplace now has got a standing position when you're using the computer.
Yeah.
You don't have to sit down all the time. Standing.
Many workplaces are now trying to promote a healthier way of its employees working. But even standing still is not really the answer. Yeah. You still need that movement. And I know many of us have jobs that require us to be kind of sat down or still for a long period of time. But then we have to find ways, be creative to find ways that we can get either regular breaks or just movements every now and again. Sometimes you have to set an alarm to make sure that you get breaks and not be consumed by the work that we're doing. Very important. 22 minutes of our life. Now look at this. One cigarette takes only, in comparison, 11 minutes of our life. So which is the greater danger? The importance of exercise. Exercise also aids digestion and promotes intestinal activity, reducing gas and constipation. Okay, so it's good to go for a light walk if possible before and after our meals. This promotes good circulation, so the body is able to digest food in a more efficient manner. Okay, and after a good meal, what's the tendency? How do we feel after a good? Very sleepy, isn't it? I mean, maybe that might be because I overindulged in that meal, but it's also because now the body is drawing around the digestive area blood away from the brain as well. Okay, so it's good to go for a walk. A light walk after a meal will help to promote the equalizing of circulation, and we won't feel as tired. Okay, and just a few other facts. A lack of exercise and fresh air retards digestion. It makes it more difficult for the body to absorb the food that we've eaten. And also, exercise quickens and equalizes the circulation of the blood. So what's one of the answers to disease? Get up and go. We don't have to wait to be afflicted. Just implement an exercise regimen now. We were created for action. So to very simple points how to make a start, for those of you who may not have an exercise regimen, a balanced and well-planned exercise program is one of the wisest investments anybody can make. The best thing is to choose an activity that we know we're going to enjoy and stick to it. The best form of exercise is the ones that we enjoy doing, and especially those ones which are social as well. So walking is the best exercise. Not just any type of walking, but walking like a New Yorker. You know, New Yorkers have a tremendous pace when they walk. Time is money. You know, so you get all of your limbs in motion and walk at a good pace. Now, the way that some people walk in the country, I have to admit, and because we're surrounded by beautiful wildlife and you know, all kinds of nature, but that pace drops a little bit too much, and the benefits of that exercise are lost. Okay, but we need a balance. So a good brisk walk is one of the best exercises where you're calling into action all of your limbs, all of your muscle groups. But find what exercise suits you best. Luke 13:33, another principle, it promotes walking every day. Also, sunlight, which is the final one we'll look at today. How sunlight affects the human body and the human mind. Now, sunlight, it is discovered, increases immunity. It enhances our immune system.